Welcome to When Music Matters from VAC. I'm Kevin Hayes, and I'm privileged today to be joined by Bill Iber, who is a judge of fine whiskey and good British cars, and we're privileged to have him as a member of the VAC family. Bill dropped by the factory this morning, and we were out in the parking lot, and we got to talking about music and what it means in our homes and our lives. I think it was mentioning Matt Monroe that first began the deeper part of the conversation. And I thought it'd be nice to share with the people some of what music means to you and how you engage with it in your home.
That's fine. Thank you, Kevin. As a child, I've always loved music. When I was a kid, we had the record players, and we'd go outside after dinner with the record players and bring the records out, and all the kids in the neighborhood would come around and would sit and listen to music. As I got older, I started getting into separates, separate components, and then around 1975, I got into my first, I guess you'd call high-end audio system, Dahlquist DQ10 speakers, some Hardin Carman amplifiers, separate amplifiers, and so on. And those things are like quite antiquated now. Since then, I've been through a number of other high-end audio systems over the years, and I now am using VAC's preamplifier and power amplifiers as monoblocks. And
you have the Signature 200 IQs.
I have the Signature 200 IQs and the Master preamp. Oh. And there's nothing that I've ever experienced quite like these. One of the things when I've had other high-end audio systems, I always seem to feel that if it was a great recording, it would sound terrific. But if the recording wasn't that good, then it wouldn't sound that good. And what I've learned is that the problem wasn't the recording being not that good. It was the system being incapable of resolving the recording. And with the system that I'm using now, the VAC system, it makes the best audiophile recordings sound fantastic, as well as recordings from the 50s and 60s sound equally fantastic. Now, not quite as good as current audiophile, but far better than you've ever heard them on any other system, than I've ever heard them on any other system. So I've thoroughly enjoyed these electronics. And Kevin is a dream to work with, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, we're thrilled to have you in the family.
Thank
that's
you.
what we always say. It is welcome to the VAC family if you buy one of our pieces of electronics, whether it's new or secondhand. We regard everyone as being part of our family. Now, we were just talking before we began filming a moment ago about some of the older forms of music. You mentioned a 1904 Caruso recording.
Yes. That
appeared on a Woody Allen film compilation,
yes.
And I was talking about some of the 78s I have. And an observation that I don't think many people have made, but which always strikes me is the more challenged the recording is, the more it has noise or some other limitation, the more important it is to keep every bit of that information as pure as you can. So if your recording, say, is noisy or hissy or something else, a really, really good amplifier makes a big difference there, and really good speakers and so forth.
Yes.
With a fairly worn-out 78, you will hear a lot of the surface noise of the shellac recording, but it's almost like it stands in a separate plane from the music. You just listen through it and ignore it. Your brain can dial it out, and you can hear the cymbals, which people say you can't hear often on 78s, and those kinds of things. But specifically, what time of day do you start playing music typically, and what's that evening like?
Well, I have my own happy hour every day. Yeah. Before dinner, 1 hour every day. I listen to music, turn the system on, have a glass of whiskey and one beer chaser, and that's it. And after that 1 hour, my wife calls me in to dinner, and we have a lovely dinner together. But that 1 hour is a truly special hour where I just immerse myself in the music every day, forget about the cares of the day, forget about the problems coming forward tomorrow, and just enjoy the music. And it's like having it's like having your very favorite performers that you've always loved right there in your living room performing for free. How does it get any better than that? I don't know. Not for me, it doesn't.
Now, you mentioned something when we talked earlier about volume levels and trying to get the feel or the detail of the
Yes.
life in the music.
Yes.
And one of the things that I think a lot of us have observed is when a system is not really resolving in a musically satisfying way, we tend to keep inching the volume up, trying to get that excitement or get that detail.
Absolutely.
And it never actually happens. But conversely, when a system is really musically balanced and kind of in that knife edge or that groove of winsome musical behavior, you can keep turning it down, and no matter how far down you turn it, it keeps getting your attention and drawing you into the music.
Absolutely. I find that I don't have to listen to the music at the same volume level as before because of that additional detail. It's the detail in the music that makes it become real. And when you don't have that detail, you want it, and so you tend to turn the volume up louder to get it. And you get a little bit of it, but not that much. But when you have a really good system, that detail just creates this magic that makes you believe that the musicians are right there in the room with you. And that's just an amazing thing if you really love music.
Now, what sort of music do you like to play during that hour of relaxation?
You name it. I mean, sometimes I'll put on Mozart, who I'm not really that big on Mozart, but I like a lot of other classical performers, not performers, composers better. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll put on rock and roll. Sometimes I'll put on folk music, mm-hmm. Bob Dylan, Donovan, you name it. And I love jazz. And so I'll go through everything from the most contemporary jazz that's going on today back to Brubeck and Davis, and then before that even into big band and so on. So it's very broad. There's not much music I don't like. The only thing I don't like is rap.
That's an acquired taste, I imagine. But you know, it always amazes me what a form of communication of emotion and music is, and how it can just take you to places and thoughts and memories and give you, open the feelings of the world around
Absolutely.
you. And it's when we approach the job that we do, we're not thinking about. I mean, when you hear people talk about high fidelity, and they describe it sometimes in the magazines or posts as, transparency or this or that. None of those terms reflect music. And
yes.
The system should be transparent and resolving in all these technical terms, but it should move you with the music first. And if you want to then stop and think about how it did that, you can get back to some of the technical things. But it's about music, it's about moving you, and that's a step beyond hi-fi. That's from hi-fi to magic, I think.
Yes.
So now, at the end of that hour, when Tatiana calls you to dinner, what do you put? You still keep the stereo on at that point?
Still keep it on. I put it quietly on maybe Bill Evans or some nice, moderately soft piano music. Usually although my wife loves Bing Crosby, even though she's
Really?
only 41 years old, 42 now.
I think you married well.
Yeah. But I usually try to do an instrumental, light jazz instrumental. Mm-hmm. It's easy to talk through. You don't have, it's not distracting. I've got a story that you might be interested in. I just thought of. I haven't thought about it in years. In 1980, I had a Tandberg reel-to-reel recorder.
A 10X or one of the earlier ones?
I don't remember at this point.
Big reels or smaller?
Big.
Probably a 10X. I had one as well. Great machine.
Okay. Yeah, it was nice. And my mother came to visit, and my mother always sang, never professionally, but she sang, and she had a good voice. And so I had a Benny Goodman direct-to-disc record that I put on my turntable, and I had a Shure SM58 microphone, and I played the record and recorded my mother singing to it, and recorded it on the Tandberg.
Yeah.
Since then, I got rid of the Tandberg. I dubbed it down to a cassette because otherwise I could never hear it. Right? So I got this cassette. I then digitized the cassette into a WAV file, okay?
Right.
A lot of tape hiss, of course, from the cassette. I brought it into Audacity or one of the
Audacity or something
something,
like that.
yeah.
Yep. We use that actually to record the soundtrack for this presentation.
Brought it into there, got rid of the tape hiss.
Ah.
Okay, easy to do. Played it on this system now. Was blown away, absolutely blown away how good it sounds. You know, vocals are pretty easy to
They're easy to screw up.
yeah, but they're also very easy to, oh Lord have mercy, to play on an audio system. They're not that sophisticated. There's not a huge amount of detail in vocals. If your system isn't doing vocals well, you really need a new system.
Right.
But I couldn't believe how lifelike on the VAC system that my mother from 1980 going the way I explained how it got there, it astounded me.
That's a wonderful, surprising blessing to have.
Yeah, she's long gone now,
Oh,
but I can still listen to her.
that's wonderful. Well, Bill, thank you so much for taking some time to
Thank
sit
you.
down with us and share some about music and about. I should ask you what your speakers are and what your source is.
I'm using B&W's 802D3s.
Right.
I'm using an MSB DAC, and I'm going from J River from my laptop.
Very good.
All of my CDs have been ripped into WAV files and into J River, where I can just sit down and just, with a few buttons, play anything I want to at any moment.
I think I remember your dealer is the fabulous Mike Bavard from
Yes,
Suncoast
yeah,
Audio.
Mike is just a dream.
Truly a great story, and we're very privileged to be in it and work with Mike. Anyway, that's it for this episode of When Music Matters. Our thanks to Bill Iber, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening and listening to me ramble on.
It was a pleasure. Goodbye, everyone.